Not now, cow. Cock-a-doodle-doo, do you see this? Spring is almost here. Spring. Duck is ready, helps things grow. Sheep is ready, skips below. Goat is ready, gives a show. Cow is... Oh, cow, not now. Summer. Chick is ready, feathers fail. Goat is ready, chomps a pail. Pig is ready, leaves a trail. Cow is... Oh, cow, not now. Fall. Horse is ready, builds a pile. Chick is ready, snacks a while. Sheep is ready, adds a smile. Cow is... Oh, cow, just wow. Winter. Pig is ready, makes a friend. Horse is ready, rounds the bend. Duck is ready, sets a trend. Cow, are you ready? Oh, cow, not now. We need to talk. The end. What is your favorite part of the story? My favorite part of the story is where Duck was skating. Paddington's prize picture. One morning, Mrs. Brown sent Paddington to the market to buy some oranges. Paddington was well known in the market. The traders always saved their best fruit for him, and he always thanked them for it. Look at all these good stuff here. There's bananas, oranges, and apples. When he was done shopping, Paddington visited his friend, Mr. Grubber. Mr. Grubber's store was filled with old things, but he always had something new to show Paddington. Look at this place. It's filled with all sorts of stuff. Look, there's a fancy lamp, there's a mirror, and there's even a statue. And look, Paddington is walking through the door. Mr. Grubber was very busy. He was washing a painting. On one half, Paddington saw a picture of a boat. On the other half, Paddington saw what looked like a hat. Just you wait, said Mr. Grubber. There's more to come. I've never seen a picture like this before, said Paddington. That's because one picture's hidden under another, Mr. Grubber said. Paddington had a great idea. He hurried home as fast as his legs would carry him. Look at that picture. It looked like somebody wearing a hat. Paddington looked for the picture Mr. Brown has been painting. He wondered if this one had another picture under it too. I don't think this is a good idea. Do you? Paddington began to clean. The boats and blue sky disappeared, but there was nothing underneath. The beautiful picture was now a stormy sea. Paddington decided to fix it. How will Paddington fix this? If he paints over it, it'll just become a bigger mess. Let's find out. He found some brushes and an old box of paint. Then Paddington set to work. Look, he's fixing the picture. He started to paint boats in the lake. He carefully filled in the spots that he'd cleaned. Paddington stepped back to look at his work, but there was no lake. There was no boats. He reached for the paints and began again. I think Paddington's making a huge mess. Look, he's splashing orange paint everywhere. I hope the shed doesn't become orange. At dinner that evening, Paddington was covered in orange spots. I hope you're not getting sick, said Mrs. Brown. She sent him to bed early just in case. The next morning, everyone was happy to see Paddington's spots were gone. I think Paddington's spots were the paint. Look, it went all over his bed. I have news, said Mr. Brown. I have entered a painting contest. You must all come to the show. Wow, I hope Mr. Brown wins the prize. The art show began. The judges looked at all the paintings. Mr. Brown loved painting, but he had never won a prize. This could be it, he said. The whole family was excited. The judges announced the winner. It was Mr. Brown. But Mr. Brown looked confused. That is not my painting, said Mr. Brown. There must be some mistake. Paddington's painting on Mr. Brown's canvas won first prize. The judges showed Mr. Brown his name written on the back by Mr. Henry Brown, 32 Windsor Gardens. Mr. Brown accepted his prize. I think I'll donate my prize to the home of retired bears in Peru, he said. Paddington beamed. My Aunt Lucy will be pleased. She likes happy endings. Don't we all? said Mrs. Bird. The end. What is your favorite part of the story? My favorite part of the story is where Paddington was sleeping on his bed and then his orange spots with paint on it rolled all over the bed. This book is Mr. Tall. Mr. Tall was very, very, very tall. Quite the tallest person you've ever met. In fact, quite the tallest person you've never met. Because you'd never meet anybody with legs as long as Mr. Tall's legs. Have you? Now the problem with being as tall as Mr. Tall was that life was just one long problem, as you can see. Oh dear, he used to sigh. Oh dear me, I do so wish that my legs weren't quite so very, very, very long. He decided to go for a walk to think over his problem. He was just stepping over a tree when he heard a voice. A little voice. Hello! It was Mr. Small, standing underneath a daisy. But Mr. Tall was so tall he couldn't see him. So Mr. Small shouted at the top of his voice. Hello! And Mr. Small's shout is about as loud as a bee's sneeze. So it took quite some time for Mr. Tall to spot him. Oh, he said gloomily, it's you. You don't look very happy, said Mr. Small. What's up? I am, replied Mr. Tall. because of these skinny long legs of mine. Oh, said Mr. Small. Mr. Small decided to cheer him up. Let's go for a walk together, he suggested. So they did, which of course didn't work. It was like a giraffe going for a walk with a mouse. Then Mr. Small had an idea, which did work. And because of the length of Mr. Tall's legs, they very quickly walked all the way to the seaside. Come for a swim, cried Mr. Small. I can't, replied Mr. Tall. By the time it gets deep enough for me to swim, I'll be out on the other side. So Mr. Small went for a swim while Mr. Tall sat down with a face which was nearly as long as his legs. Mr. Tickle came along. Hello, he said. You look as if you need cheering up. Care for a tickle? No thanks, replied Mr. Tall. What I would care for are some different legs. Mine are much too long. So are my arms, said Mr. Tickle cheerfully, but all the better for tickling. And off he went, chuckling and looking for somebody to tickle. Looking for anybody to tickle. Mr. Nosy came along. Cheer up, he said. You look very down in the mouth. What's the problem? It's my legs, replied Mr. Tall. They're too long. So is my nose, replied Mr. Nosy, laughing, with all the better for poking into other people's businesses. And he went off, looking for something to be nosy about. Looking for anything to be nosy about. Mr. Greedy came along. Hello, he cried. You look gloomy. What's wrong? It's my legs, explained Mr. Tall. They're too big. So is my tummy, replied Mr. Greedy, but all the better for filling with food. And off he went, licking his lips. And Mr. Tall sat there and thought about Mr. Tickle's arms, Mr. Nosy's nose, and Mr. Greedy's tummy. He smiled, and then he grinned, and then he laughed out loud, and he looked at his legs, those very, very, very long legs of his. All the better for walking, he chuckled, and he walked home. In 4 minutes, 40 miles! Mr. Small came out of sea after his short swim. And how am I going to get home? He asked himself. So instead of walking all the way home, 40 miles, that was last year. He got home yesterday. The end. What is your favorite part of the story? My favorite part of the story is when Mr. Nosy said his nose is without his long nose, he won't be able to poke in other people's businesses.